I'm very happy to be back with Jessica Resch, acupuncturist extraordinaire, and very nice person and great interview subject. And we have been talking in a previous episode about acupuncture and about the work that she does and how she got into it and that sort of thing. And when we last left off, we were talking a little bit about the fact that in acupuncture, one of the real basic foundations of it is the seasons and how each season has some factors that go with it. Could you explain that? Welcome back,
Sure.
by the way, Jessica.
Thank you for having me
Yeah,
back.
and
Such
could
a
you explain a little bit about what is it about each season? There are a certain number of factors that come with each season. What
Sure.
are those?
So in Chinese medicine, the seasons and something called five elements are
Okay.
interchangeable, if you will.
Okay.
Well, we're used to hearing about four seasons. Well,
Yes.
in Chinese medicine, there are five.
Right.
And there are different ways to hold that. And the way that I'll share today is that there are five of them.
Okay.
There's winter, which is the water element. There's spring, which is the wood element. There is summer, which is the fire element. Late summer, which is earth. And fall, which is the metal element. And the elements are just the elemental world. It's what makes up our natural world.
Right.
And in Chinese medicine, for each of these elements, there are emotion, colors, gifts, in terms of like ways of being, organs that relate to each of them, a different sort of feeling energetically to each of them. And
Let
so,
me stop you there. Certain organs that in each of these five, what did you say, factors or five
five
elements?
elements
In each of the five elements, there are certain organs that are affected by
associated.
it. They're associated with it. That's the right word.
Yeah.
Okay.
And can be affected by it and can be affected by it. I think, and I should probably say too, Jim, the idea for Chinese medicine and any of this that I'm talking about, I guess the overarching goal is balance, right?
Okay.
To find balance, to live a life of balance each day, not in extremes, to find the middle way and to live in balance with the natural world. That's sort of like
Okay.
an overarching framework.
There's a lot of talk about mind, body, and spirit, I think,
Yeah.
acupuncture, right? You want to get all that working together, I
Yeah.
guess.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So of these elements it has a certain um, body parts or organs or whatever that have
Yeah,
to do
yeah,
with it.
yeah.
That's that's
I
that's fascinating. And there are certain meridians that have to do with those organs, right?
exactly, perfectly said.
Okay. So
Um,
if I am having some kind of a liver situation, you know exactly where to go to stimulate that meridian, right?
exactly. And that would tell me something about your spring energy. So liver and gallbladder belong to spring and the wood element.
Be observable through the pulse. Is that correct?
Through the pulse,
Okay.
it also will be through the color I see on your face. There's a
Okay.
color associated with spring
Okay.
and the liver and smell. I typically have people come in, don't wear cologne, don't wear perfume or lotions because you might smell like spring. So then that would be a little
Okay.
puzzle piece for me.
I
Oh,
see.
okay.
I see. You're artificially smelling a certain way when you're trying to observe their natural. Yeah.
Exactly.
Let me just jump in there. So the idea that we're talking about the liver, let's say, and there's a meridian that has to do with that, and we haven't really talked about the basics of that. There are needles that get inserted into that meridian. Could you tell a little bit about that, please?
Sure. We use the needles as our tool. There are other tools that we use as well, but the needles are very fine. Think of like the width of a couple pieces of hair, if that. They're very fine. They're solid. They're only used once and then they're disposed of. They're sealed. And I may find a point. This is not liver. Liver is more on the leg,
Okay.
but I'll put a point on you and then I'll have you breathe in and I tap the needle in. And the needle only goes in the way I practice, a few just not even millimeters
Okay.
down until I would access the chi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does the needle activating the chi, does that have anything to do with blood flow or do they have any relation?
Well, there's been more science to that. And this is something I want to read more into because I think there can be a chemical release, endorphins, things like
Right.
that can be released through that. not necessarily the blood, but there are ways to use the needle. So say I might notice you were talking about liver,
Yeah.
that channel might be a little wiry, a little stressed out, a little tight. I may put a needle in and sedate it, turn it counterclockwise to sort of unwind that energy versus something that is a little more deficient. I might put the needle in and turn it clockwise and take it out right away.
Oh,
So there are different ways to
okay. I want to get back to
man.
something that you mentioned earlier, which is this is not a magic wand that you wave over the person. This is
Yeah.
a process that if you want to get a good result from it, typically, would you say typically you need more than one session?
Yes, for sure. When someone starts, it's in a perfect world, you'd see them twice a week for the first 2 to 3 weeks, and then, once a week for to 6 to 10.
Oh, okay.
So
Oh, that's
it's
a couple of months. That's months that you're doing it.
it could be
Yeah.
at the beginning. Yeah. I tend to see people weekly when they start,
Okay.
unless something acute, say someone's just had an accident, I might want to see twice a week for
Okay.
the first 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you kind of see, right? You see how the patient's feeling. Do they get results? And then those results last a few days and then things start to go back the old way. You want
Oh,
to sort of create staying power, if you will.
I see. I
Mhm.
see. Right. Because it's not only in the pulse that you're able to determine progress or not. Would the person be able to recognize feeling better, or how does that work?
They should immediately. And typically at the beginning, you're going to set up some measures maybe with the client. Like if their pain's a 10 out of 10, and then they leave the room and it's a 5 out of 10. Okay, how long does that last? And
Hallelujah.
where are you?
Right. Hmm.
Yeah. And also lifestyle. I'll tell you, Jim, I'm not God. I'm not a miracle worker. Lifestyle has a lot to do with it. If you're coming in for 1 hour a week and you feel better, you also have to be changing the habits that can create the dis-ease, if you will.
Right. I find that phrase so interesting. It's this ease. It's if everything is functioning well and everything's in balance, then you have ease.
Right.
And if there are things wrong, then you get dis-ease. And
Ease.
yeah, I've heard before that there are different energy levels that extend beyond the human body. And does acupuncture have anything to do with those?
Are you thinking like the chakras and
This that there's a no, I'm thinking of
oh, the auras?
the auras. Yes, in the auras
Yeah.
that
I
there are different energy levels. And what I've been told is that if you have a problem and you just don't take care of it, it's going to work its way through that energy into your body, and
That's
and
right.
then you're going to have a problem.
Exactly. So there's this thing in Chinese medicine, and I'm always curious about in Chinese medicine, it's called this. In
Right.
Ayurvedic, it's called this. I'm always interested about where everything intersects, but we have certain layers of energy. And one of those is called your Wei Qi, which is
Okay.
your protective layer of energy that's sort of most out from your body.
Okay.
So there are three certain layers of energy. But how do you keep that protective layer strong is through sleeping well, eating well, exercise, living in balance, finding the middle way with how you live your life. And when you don't, that protective layer can get compromised. And that's where people get sick,
Yeah.
they catch a cold because they're run down.
Right.
And if you live hard, you know,
I'm familiar. Back in the day,
sometimes
back in the day, I did some
that
hard living.
yeah. I mean, and you gotta enjoy life too, right?
Right.
But if you really have done that for many
Right.
decades,
Right.
that is going to deplete what we call your pre-heaven energy. This idea that you're born with a certain amount of energy and you don't want to ever start tapping into that. But some people do,
I have never
you
heard
know?
that phrase before. Did you say pre-heaven energy?
Yes, it's a more of a Chinese medicine term, a traditional Chinese medicine term
Never heard of
that
that. What is that again?
that you're born with a certain amount of chi, a strength chi. Some people are born compromised,
Okay.
some aren't. And then you're meant to just take care of yourself,
Right.
right?
right,
and then that's sort of like your bank account, your retirement account that you never want to touch, you know?
right, right. I know people that their whole lives, they've never had as much energy, physical energy, as other people. They just have always had to really watch what they did because they run out of energy. But and then there are other people that just seem to never stop, and they're
Right?
just fine. And so I guess that has to do with how much chi were you born with.
Right. Right.
That's so interesting. That's so
I mean,
interesting.
it's kind of cool because it makes sense, right? You're like, I know people like this.
Right. And for them, that's just a natural life is I got
Yeah,
half of what you got. So that's all that's where I'm at. And
that's
the
right. And I'm cautious and I have to like take care of
right,
myself and tend to myself a little bit better than most people. Yeah.
right, right, right.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about the different seasons. And
Yeah.
during our break, we talked about that you do have like a chart or that you could show us. Would you please change the camera of yours over to show us the poster or whatever that you brought?
I'm happy to.
Great.
So this is it probably looks a little complex, but I think the biggest thing I want to show you are the circles.
Okay.
Okay. 5 element chart.
Okay.
And so I thought it would illustrate the 5 seasons I spoke about
Yes.
earlier.
Yes.
Okay. The 5 elements and the 5 seasons are interchangeable, if you will.
Okay.
So this one at the very top is summer.
Okay.
So imagine this circle here, what it's representing is the movement of energy, right? So the movement of energy meaning heavier, denser, more darkness, right? Dropping energy. So you think between, September to December, the days are
Yes.
getting shorter or
Yes.
what have you. And then from here, this is winter. So this is summer,
Yes.
fire element. This is earth, late summer. This is fall, the metal element. This is winter, the water element. And this is wood, the spring element. So right now we're like here,
Okay.
we just crossed over the holiday season, December 21st, the solstice. And at the time of the solstice, that's like the deepest, heaviest energy, it is the time of the most quiet where we can really access that sort of that stillness, and turn
Yes.
within.
Yes.
Yeah. Imagine a seed in the ground or the sap in the trees.
Yeah.
That's going on here in this hemisphere, if you will,
And
right?
now that you're talking about it, it's as I look back to the the winter holidays that this was winter solstice and all that really is a different feeling in people, I think, around that
Mhm,
time. It's not
mhm.
the middle of summer. It's a really different feeling, and I think it happens so naturally and so gradually that we don't really notice it. We're
Exactly.
not comparing, "Oh, I'm in winter, and now all of a sudden I jump into the middle of summer." It's like, okay, no, it happens one day at a time, and I'm moving through these cycles, but I never really thought about it like that, but there's a very peaceful feeling around the shorter days and the time and things like that. It's
Yeah.
very interesting that this involves that. I guess this is a natural way that people have always been.
Yes, and I think it's so astute of you, Jim, to pick up on the fact that it's not like a light switch.
Right.
You know
Right.
how, like, sometimes people will be like, "Oh, December 21st, it's winter now." No, it's not a light switch. It's subtle. It's more subtle than that. It's an everyday thing.
Yes.
You and I in this meeting, this is sort of like nighttime. This is on a holographic or a minute scale in a day. This is the morning. We rise up.
Yes.
That's like summer energy, right?
Right.
We could go, no, excuse me. We rise up in the spring. We wake up in it's the morning. The
Yes.
light has started. The day is, then we go about our day. We're getting a bunch of stuff done. That's like summertime energy. We're accomplishing, we're getting things done. And then we're starting to close down into the afternoon. And then as the sun starts to set, ideally we're quieting, we're turning inward,
Yes.
we're home with our loved ones, we're getting quiet and we're preparing for sleep, which is winter. You know?
Yes. Oh, yes.
So that'll happen every day. That'll happen in our meeting. You and I had a beginning to this meeting. Well,
Right.
we will have
Right.
an ending as well. So it's like this natural rhythm that's happening all the time, but we're so used to living in it that we don't notice the nuances. Like you said,
Yes. Yes.
we might notice the leaves dropping or the snow. But if you really start to pay attention, you'll start to see those tiny early February, mid February, you'll start to see things awakening a little bit.
Yes. Yes.
So, in the human being, are we able to do that? Have we rested enough in winter so that come spring, we're ready to jump up and rise and get going,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? But when I was in corporate, I hated this time of year.
Oh, okay.
I didn't even like hearing the birds sing, Jim,
Oh,
in the morning.
yes.
Would make me angry. And guess what? Anger is the emotion of this one, right? But
Oh,
anger's not a bad thing. Anger's really just a creative force for
okay.
change,
Okay.
right? But anyway, because I hadn't rested,
Yes.
it's like
Yes.
it's like if this is the water element and this is the tree, the wood element, it's like a tree with no water.
Yeah.
Well, it's brittle and it's
Yeah.
breaking
I'm
down,
not
you know?
I'm not ready to wake up because I haven't gone to sleep yet.
Yes. So I was a really fried, dry, brittly, angry, depressed person, you know?
Well, and I don't think that's uncommon in the
No, I
corporate
would
world.
say
I think that the expectations and the demands that sometimes, not always, but sometimes corporations and businesses place on, especially their more capable and higher functioning people.
yeah.
If you can do it, then let's do twice of it, two times that much.
Right.
And so I think it's fairly common, but I understand that that's not balance.
It's not. And I would say as a Western culture
Yes.
and where we live, which is the DC, New York corridor, it is about producing. So
Yes.
people are very comfortable in spring, very comfortable in summer, late summer, of course, but not many people like fall or winter.
Yes.
It's dead. The trees are dead. No, it's not dead. It's like you think of the depth of the ocean or a seed in the ground. It's becoming itself. It's germinating. It's like all the mystery and magic of what wants to grow in the spring needs the depth of winter and even the solitude and letting go of fall to be able to do this. Does
Okay.
that make
It
sense?
does. It makes perfect sense. And
No.
the the translation of, well, let's use spring. The
Uh-huh.
translation of the spring there
Uh-huh.
to my body when I come in for treatment.
Yeah.
Tell me how that translates.
Yes, beautifully put. So this is the wood element. This is, are you able to rise? Do you have vision? Are you able to like see a task that needs doing, initiate it and actually get it done, like move it forward?
Yeah.
Are you able to have a new creative idea and sort of like, are you able to deal with like, this is what I really like to accomplish in 2025. This is like my dream, what I want to create, right?
Right.
We're able to sort of like move. It has a lot to do with the sinews, has a lot to do with the eyes, in being able to have clarity, vision, decisiveness. This has to do with the liver and the gallbladder. The liver is more of like the yin organ of the wood element, the spring
Okay.
element, whereas the gallbladder is the yang. Liver sees the big picture. Gallbladder has to do with carrying out the details and all the decisions that we take care of every day.
Okay.
I don't know if that
It
helps. And when
it
I
does.
mention it does, when I mention emotions,
Yes.
I use anger is the emotion here, but anger's not a bad thing. I think anger is that the force, the upward force in the spring of that little tiny grass green thing that can push through the concrete,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
It's not always a bad thing, but we see stagnant anger most of the time. We see road rage anger in our culture, so we think anger's bad, but anger's really just about creating change.
Okay. I didn't understand what you said. We see. Stagnant anger, did you say?
Yeah,
Stagnant.
like road rage would be
Okay.
an unhealthy spectrum of anger.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
It's not starting a change. It's not bringing about change.
Right.
If you use anger to say, I don't like this, but I'm going to make a change to that, then
Yes. Yeah. Creation,
right.
creating something new. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Now, could you swing that camera back onto you again, please?
Yeah.
Great.
I
Great.
get very passionate, Jim. Can you tell? I get all excited and I start.
That's fascinating. I love it. I love it. And I hope that this is not the last time that we have these interviews. And I wanted to leave enough time here in today's talk to talk about the fact that you are a human being and you are spirit as well, and that
Yeah.
you receive information into you. I know people have called it, I got a download or this or that. And you receive information that has to do with your work. Would that be a fair way
Yeah.
to say it?
Yes, I would.
And could you talk about that a little bit? Because I've I've never heard of that being involved with acupuncture.
And I don't know if you could use the word intuition, but for me, how that shows up, and I've had to cultivate this. I was a little bit in my head at the beginning
As I
of
think we all are, right?
exactly. And I've learned that if I sort of get out of my own way and empty my mind and ground myself to the present moment, I will receive information. I may receive an acupuncture point. I may receive an insight to what that client on the table may need. People that have been with me a long time, I may even wake up in the morning, they're on my schedule that day, and I might, oh, I'm seeing Sally Joe's back as an example. Why am I seeing her back? And then I show up in the office and they injured their back
Okay.
or what have you. So I attribute it to when I'm present. And if I empty out my mind of all my clutter,
Yes.
then I can receive clarity around what that person might need.
I know that I work hard to meditate every day, and I've read a lot about it, and I've studied about it, and I've heard about it, that our thoughts think us. We don't think them necessarily. They come into our mind. But if you're able to do like you're doing, I wouldn't call it a skill necessarily. You develop that feeling, I guess, right? Of being
It's
able
kind
to
of like practice.
practice.
Yeah, developing that stillness. I use the words emptying, like emptying out to self, like emptying out my stuff. You know what I
Okay.
mean? And that can happen for me if I do meditate. I can get a clearer, more spacious, open mind.
Right.
And that's where I tend to get a lot of wisdom and clarity or direction, in that way.
What comes to you when you're not really thinking about it?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes, like if I wake up in the morning, yeah, for sure.
I think that the ability to recognize that you're receiving these messages is
Mhm.
one of the keys, because I've been
Yeah.
told that I do receive messages from the other side, but I don't recognize them yet,
Uh,
but that I perhaps will. I'm hoping to. But
Yeah.
I know that in times I have received things from the other side, it's very fleeting to me. It's
Yeah.
just a wisp that goes by. But if you're able to recognize it, then you can say, "Oh, okay, I did get that message." And
Yeah.
and is it similar like that for you?
It is. And I feel like the more I cultivate stillness, we were hanging out in that winter season,
Yes.
winter and fall. The more I cultivate those sort of spacious, quieter, deeper energies within myself, that's where I tend to then receive more. It's not when I'm doing a million things, blah, 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 blah,
Life happens.
when I'm, yeah. Now, sometimes that might happen. You might get like shocked by something driving down the road or what have you. But on the whole, I tend to experience more when I'm well rested and I've created more stillness for myself,
Mhm, mhm, mhm. Is being an acupuncturist a stressful profession?
Well, that's a good question. Is it stressful? I don't know that I would see it as stressful. I think having your own small business comes with its own stressors.
Absolutely.
I think the hardest part for me, Jim, is that I feel everything And so sometimes I absorb. They teach you in school not to do that, that there's ways of holding energetic boundaries, that you don't take on other people's stuff. I think, I don't even know how to word it. Maybe how I grew up and how I sort of gained these sensitivities, I just feel everything. And that's not always healthy for me.
Mhm.
And I can feel overloaded and then have to sort of like, okay, I treated 2, 3 days. I need a day. I don't want to see anybody. I don't want to
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
anything. And that's not necessarily healthy, really.
Well, being able to establish boundaries is easier said than done.
Yeah.
I mean, if you
Yeah.
really truly care about people and how they are, then
Right.
you want to go deep into their situation. So it's hard, I think, to still want to treat them and be good to them, but then be able to look out for yourself as well. I think that's a tough tightrope to walk.
It is. And I would say that's my biggest challenge
Mhm.
is boundaries and energetic boundaries because I'm full in, part of my,
Right,
when I'm there, and a part of it is just being who you are,
right.
listening. People need to be heard and loved and acknowledged. And that's a big part of, if I had to say, oh, I'm an acupuncturist, but what do I really do? I bear witness and love.
Yes. Isn't that a great job to have? Really?
Makes me emotional.
Tiring and emotionally draining, but what a wonderful thing to go to work and to give that love and attention that your clients really are desperate for, I think. I think we all
Yeah.
are. We all want that.
Well, and then I wind up learning so much from them. They're so, all my clients, they just become part of your family. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And people have been with you for years. You just love them. They're your
Right.
family.
That's right.
Your,
That's right. Well, I was in the lawyer business but we had it was a small one lawyer practice, and my wife, Kathy, worked with me. She carried a ton of the weight of it. And our deal was, if you can't care about the people and show them love and support and really care about the problems that they're having, if you can't do that, then just don't be in it. It's not
right.
worth doing. Not
Right.
everybody
Right.
who's in that was my way of practicing law. A lot of lawyers don't they don't look at it that way, and that's fine. That's them. But that's the way it was
Right.
for me, and I was very, very lucky to be able to be with people that I love. I love people, and so yeah, it's a great profession that you're in, and I I am hoping you and I talked briefly that perhaps I could come to your shop there and I could get an acupuncture treatment, and we could talk about on the next interview, we could talk a little bit about what happened and what were my situations. And I would like that very much because that's
Oh, that would be my great. I think it would help too. This conversation, it would give you an embodied experience of some of what I'm talking about. So I would love for us to
oh,
schedule that.
well, I look forward to it. And yeah, I want to know, well, how's my energy doing and what's going on. And so
Yeah.
I look forward to it. I can't thank you enough for coming on and giving 2 interviews here. And it's great. And I really do look forward to more interviews and more talking about how we as individuals can give that love and support and caring to other people on a day-to-day basis, and makes a big, in my book, it makes a big difference in this world. So
Sure
yeah,
does. And we need it. We all
yeah,
need it.
yeah, we do. Well, thanks again, and I appreciate it. I look forward to next time.
Thank you so much,
All
Jim.
right.
Bye.